Hey there, Evil Dead fans. Welcome to another episode of Ted TV. Tonight, we're going to be breaking down Season 2, Episode 6 of Ash vs. Evil Dead, Trapped Inside. And as you can probably guess, we have a very special guest with us tonight. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Holy cow, guys.
I believe it was actually the Ted Raimi show is the term that you were looking for.
I think it's Ted TV.
Yeah, he just decided to change our name.
Yeah, hi guys, how you doing by the way?
Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me back. It's a great honor to be on your show, not just once but twice, so I feel very lucky. Thank you.
Well, we are very, very lucky to have you. Again,
Thank you for having me.
So much.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody tuning in just now. Again, we are here covering the Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, Episode 6, Trapped Inside. Let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Lex Michael.
Hi, I am Lex Michael, all over social media at the Lex Michael.
Lacretia Lyon.
Hey guys, I'm Lacretia Lyon, so you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet since there is only one.
Emma Fyffe.
That's me, Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet wherever Emma Fyffes are sold at my name, Emma Fyffe.
And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. We are also going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTV Evil Dead, as well as the live chat in case you guys have any questions for our fantastic guest, Ted Raimi. Woo!
Yay! Woohoo! Yay for me!
But at the same time, guys, my heart is torn.
Yeah.
Not as badly as Chet's was, but it was.
It's like
Yeah.
poor choice of words there. Too soon.
Too soon, guys. So that's upsetting. That's very upsetting.
Yeah, it was. Chet, bought it as all actors do on this show at one point or another.
That's true.
I think if you look back, you'll even Ash Williams dies a few times in the movies.
That's true.
Yeah,
He does.
that's true.
So, and there is also the fact that the word "dead" is in the title.
True.
Yeah.
We are, so there is that. But it was Chet's time,
Yeah.
Chet bought it. But
Yeah.
again, the name of the show is Ash versus the Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. So, is Chet dead? You better believe it.
Is he gone for good?
I cannot say.
Subject to
I
interpretation.
cannot say.
Yeah.
I cannot say.
I-
But as long as I'm on this couch, I would like to talk about my mother with you all for a while. How terrible it
Yeah,
was.
just lay down.
How
be
it's not my
comfortable.
fault.
Yeah.
We've
If you could just tell me why it's not my fault that my heart got ripped out, that
I
would
was
be
going to say,
just
this
fine.
isn't actually the Ash vs. Evil Dead after show. This is just a therapy session.
It sure looks like it, yeah.
Talk about your
Yeah.
feelings about your
And that's good. If it doesn't go well, I'd like my $150 back. I'll tell you what. I better feel a lot better after this is over, buddy.
All right.
Renji in the chat says that Chet actually lasted a lot longer than he expected.
Yeah.
So,
Me too.
Good.
Me too, actually. When I read it in the script, and I thought, it was appropriate.
Yeah.
It was the right amount of time. Honestly, it was a wonderful part to play. Again, it is the Evil Dead. I'm not saying
Yes.
anything for you fans.
Right.
Take it from it what you will. I'm keeping my damn
Right.
mouth shut because I don't want Starz, thugs to come and beat me up as they are wont to do.
Sure.
But so that is happening. So I'm also very, very lucky guy because as a character actor, this is some kind of not good thing, but crazy good thing for a guy like me, which is that this is, the sixth part I've gotten to play. It's
Evil Dead.
bananas. Like
Yeah.
you get to play two parts. You're so lucky, and that happens on comedy shows.
Sure.
You're eventually you're on a comedy show long enough, or one with slightly comic bent like Ash. You'll play your own twin brother.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's gonna happen.
Or just your random identical stranger.
Yeah.
Conveniently exists for the
You'll
plot.
play. You might play. Your. A three. Like in my old show Xena, there was like three brothers because we ran 6
I was
seasons.
gonna
Like
say,
yeah,
Joxer had a lot of family members who looked
Yeah.
exactly like him.
That's right. So there's that, and so Chet is number 6 in the long line. So I feel really lucky. I think we might have talked about that before. I don't know, but I'm. It's just great. So there's like Henrietta from the
of course,
movies,
yep.
and then coming into oh my goodness, the Army of Darkness has there's 4 in Army of Darkness, and the Chet Makes 6.
Yeah.
And Chet Makes 6. It sounds like a really bad sitcom.
Yeah.
Chet Makes 6.
I watched that.
I would absolutely watch that show.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a Deadite Chet sitcom. In fact, I
Yeah.
might even prefer it if it's a sitcom, 4 cameras centered around Deadite Chet.
But I felt very, very lucky to be on the show, and it was wonderful. And I think in this particular episode too, what I thought was especially good was there are 3 things that you can't ever miss. One is of course the amazing Bruce Campbell. Number one.
Yes.
Fantastic.
There's nobody like Bruce. No one delivers those quip and one-liners better and faster than he does.
No.
And Bruce has, Bruce is, the leading man face,
Yeah. And chin.
but he's got the
Mostly
character
Chet.
actor MO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a dichotomy. You know what I mean? Like
No, he totally does.
he doesn't look the part. He's like a young Jack Nicholson in that regard. He looks like
Yeah.
the boy. He looks like he's a good-looking dude, but man, he doesn't act like a traditional leading man. So I think that's, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's
Yep.
great to see him doing all his stuff tonight. And I also liked the amazing Dana Delorenzo.
Oh,
yes.
Again, I swear, like I said last time, dudes, I haven't seen it. Somebody cut together every swear word she said. I asked you guys last time, I haven't seen it yet.
There were some particularly good ones tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe
Great one.
my...
Yeah.
Can we repeat? Are we allowed?
Oh,
to-
yeah, you can say fuck.
Level
Okay,
of
no,
the show,
yeah,
so-
her line. I think it's something like, "I'm gonna fuck your face with bullets."
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck your face off with bullets.
Yeah.
It was so
Poetry.
awesome.
Yeah, it was
And I
pretty
love
hilarious.
How she immediately turned to Linda and was like, "Too much," and Linda's like, "Totally bought it."
Yeah,
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed
yeah, it was
it.
Michelle Hurd. Michelle Hurd
she's
is on
so
everything.
great.
She's amazing.
Daredevil. She's just
Yeah.
she gets around that
Yeah.
girl. You know, she's just. And I mean that in like
Okay.
the non
Right.
get around.
In a
I mean
professional
that in the
Yes.
show
a
way.
wonderful addition to the cast. So-
Yeah. And it was nice to see Lucy. And it was nice to work with
Yeah.
Lucy this season too. You know.
Yeah, because in the last season, Lucy was kind of an outlier,
Right.
and we didn't really know what was going on with Ruby. And then
Yeah.
when she really got integrated, she was sort of a villain. And yeah, it's really
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
fun
yeah.
to see her as part of the team.
It is, and and Lucy is the villain that you love to hate.
Yeah.
And as a human being, you hate to love her. and I'll tell you why that is. I've been friends with Lucy for 20 years. I'll
Yes.
tell you. Here's a little something about Lucy Lawless. Here's why you hate to love her. Because she is at first a polyglot, like a true polyglot.
Oh.
She speaks many languages
Oh, wow.
fluently. And if I'm not mistaken, she was just about to learn Farsi, which is
my
crazy.
goodness.
Dang.
It's like learning click. It's like, who learns that? But she does. And it's unbelievable. She obviously is physically adept. She's an excellent doing stunts. She can do comedy and drama with equal alacrity.
Yeah.
Which is perfect for this show.
It
And
is,
and
yeah.
rare to find.
Yeah.
And incredibly rare to find. And she's one of the most, obviously still, one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Absolutely.
All that crap you sort of hate to blow her. Because it's too much. You go, why do I have to come up to that level? It's just too much that, to have and plus she's like an environmental activist. So
Yeah.
Right, she's
it's just
also,
I can't, and she's kind of a perfect person.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to go home and smoke a bong after all that. That's all I do. Have myself a beer and test bong and watch the show.
Talking about Ruby as kind of a villain who's
Yeah.
been integrated into this group, even though she's done horrible things,
Yeah.
Lucy brings this sort of vulnerability to the
Yes,
role.
she does.
too.
Yeah,
That's
she
the thing,
does.
yeah.
So she's become you still empathize with
Yeah,
her.
her point of view is incredibly clear and very grounded and very easy to track. To the point,
Yeah.
like we talked a whole bunch about when she was forced to kill her little babies.
Oh, yeah.
Watching her go through it and going through it with her, like it's insanely powerful.
Yes.
Well, and even now, in this episode, her going through sort of accelerating the process of the Necronomicon, basically, physically engraving itself in Pablo's chest.
Yes.
Like, you do feel like she does like feel badly that he has to go through this. Like she's like, it's absolutely 100% necessary. We have to do this, but she's not without remorse.
Yeah, she really seems to care about what happens to Pablo right now. And
Yeah.
I like this sort of, integration with her character. And then,
Yeah.
her and Kelly have such a good rapport. And I really like that, her learning about her own mortality, scene. It's
They
like, wow.
do, and whenever you're paired up with an actor for a lot of scenes in this business, you never
Yeah.
know what you're gonna get. Like, you can pair two actors up that have 100 years of experience between them, and they won't click. But those two really, there's just a good chemical whatever between them when they're acting. It works really well.
Yeah.
They're great to watch together. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, no, they are fantastic, and it's also really great seeing that relationship form. But at the same time, Kelly's not above like still standing up for Pablo and standing up for herself as well.
Oh no, totally.
So yeah, it's absolutely great.
My favorite scene in this whole episode was when Kelly fired at everybody outside, and she turns back into the house and goes, "Well, I just fired a gun into a crowd of civilians." And just without skipping a beat, Bruce is like, "Yeah, that's a felony."
Yeah, I love that.
That was funny.
I really liked when she's like, oh, "There's my little vagina."
There's my powerful vagina.
Good.
We
Yeah,
got
great.
a lot of callbacks in this episode. A lot of really great callbacks to the original films and to earlier in the season with the ghost beater reference.
Yes, I'm really glad that Ghost Beaters is still a thing.
Yeah.
Ghost Beaters is still around.
Yeah.
They're still kicking.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good.
Steve in the chat shows your enthusiasm for powerful vagina and ghost beaters.
You can't, get over those lines.
No,
They're
this
awesome.
again, the season has been great so far. And speaking of season, we want to know, how is your fantasy football season going? What's that you say?
Nailed it.
Seamless. Your starting running back has already pulled both hamstrings, and your sleeper pick is still sleeping. Well, it's not too late to save your season and win huge cash prizes at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com is the destination for 1 week fantasy football. That means no season-long commitments to bust and bench warmers. Never again will injuries have you combining a waiver wire at 2 a.m. Every week is a brand new season at DraftKings. Just pick your contest, draft your team, and follow the action live. Renew old rivalries with friends and play them every week. Or try 50-50 contest where the top half of all entries win cash. Even if your current fantasy team is circling the drain, you can still win huge cash prizes at DraftKings.com. Don't wait. Start your new season at DraftKings.com now. Use the code BUZZ and play free with your first deposit. That's the code BUZZ, B-U-Z-Z, to play free for your share of over $100,000 in total prizes this weekend. Only at DraftKings.com. Eligibility restrictions may apply. See site for details.
Go Cowboys.
That is, I was just thinking the same thing. DraftKings.com. My God, holy crap! That's what I was thinking all night. What the hell?
It's like she read your mind.
It is like she read my mind. Oh my God, that was so crazy, man. DraftKings.com.
Well, again, to get back to the callbacks,
Yeah.
how great is it to see Cheryl again?
Yes.
Great.
Like,
man.
Great to see her again.
we knew she was going to be coming back in some capacity.
Yeah.
I did not anticipate that she and Chet were a thing.
Nobody did.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody read that script. I was like, oh, yeah, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Why would they?
I agree. It wasn't something I foresaw, but when that became clear that that's what had been going on, I was like, well, that
It made
makes
so much
sense.
sense.
It does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
It does.
and Ryan O'Malley asked in the chat, what do you think Ash would have done had he found out about Chet and Cheryl?
I think well, we'll never know. I mean, he did
Yeah.
blow Chet's guts out. Finally, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
I think he probably would have been pissed at first, and then, they would have had a few pink fucks, would have all been over.
Yeah,
Yep.
he wouldn't have
Yep.
shoved a chainsaw up your ass.
No, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
seen something. Which reminds me, it reminds me of something else. DraftKings.com. It's just like DraftKings.com with Ash and Chet. I mean, it's a perfect. It reminds me a lot of that.
Exactly.
I'm
can't
sure they
lose.
would
You
play
can't
some
lose.
like sweet rounds of fantasy football.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I'm just circling back to Ash and his like being a little oblivious because
Yeah.
you would think that like Ash probably would have known that like his friend
Yeah.
and his sister were having a thing, but you certainly got the impression in this episode that he had no idea.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
And also his plan with Ball to put the
Yeah.
pet tracker on him.
That, I mean,
It's a pretty funny idea.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have to hand it to him. He is using his head. He
Yeah.
is thinking strategically.
Sure.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sense.
Yeah.
And I loved why he had the pet tracker because he kept getting into his pot.
And the weed station wandering around his apartment.
No.
Yeah.
That's why you put it in the drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your iguana can't get in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
The iguana doesn't have thumbs. You can't.
Exactly.
Why is Ash leaving weed around to the point where the iguana does have access to it?
Where could the iguana
That's
be
just
picking it up?
irresponsible.
Why would he think those thoughts so that his iguana would go like smoke a bowl?
No. My dog.
You know?
But yeah, with how is it working with Ellen Sandweiss again? Just because again, it's so nice to see her.
It was great working with Ellen again. You know, she.
I was so glad that it was her. I mean, not that I had any doubt it was gonna be, but it was still. It's just so exciting to see so much. From the original films, like incorporated into the show.
That's from the Evil Dead 1-1.
Yeah.
That's from like the 1979 version. I mean, that is an old one, but she's terrific. It was great working with her again. She's she's Ellen Sandweiss. She's just a spunky gal. She's a good actor, and it was weird. All of us being together again. You know, I mean, that first one I was a little kid. I hardly was in that first picture. Yeah. But I do remember it being made, and it's just freaky. Like, I mean, Bruce and I, we were, here we are, 30 years later, we were saying on that episode, we went, well, we've come a long way. We're right back where we started from. And so, but it was nice to see Ellen just for that same reason. Nice to see her again.
I was so happy that they brought up the tree rape stuff. I think that's so funny. I know it's terrible, but I love when she goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna make like a tree and fuck you."
Yeah. What was the term? Branch banged?
Branch
I believe was the one.
banged.
Yeah, well, and again, it's like Ash is not a subtle person.
No.
So he just straight up is like, you got branch banged by a tree, and you turned into a demon, and I killed you. You're dead. And she's like, yeah, I think I would remember that.
Yeah.
I can't say that I like that it being in the first movie, but I love that this show is the only show that can make that kind of joke, and for it to even come close to working.
Yes.
I was like, only Evil Dead could do that.
That's right. And Bruce, the inimitable Bruce is great at delivering those lines.
Yeah.
I don't think very few actors could throw a line like that out
and have it not be offensive
or fall flat.
Yeah,
He's really great at that. It takes a unique kind of an actor to pull that
John
off.
in the chat, in regards to that first time that Ash and Cheryl see each other, and Cheryl's like, Ash, you look different. What happened to you? And Ash goes, pancakes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
I thought it was great watching Bruce play every scene between Ash and Cheryl because there are so many layers there. You get obviously that this is affecting him. There is a weight to it.
Well,
but he's also been through this with her specifically a couple of times.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, people in the chat are complaining that they're like, oh, he wasn't like upset enough over Cheryl's death. I'm like, he was upset about this a long time ago.
That's
And
right.
Ash at this point too has dealt with the Deadites for so long that he sees her show up and he's not thinking, oh good, my sister's back. He's like,
He knows.
Yeah,
and he's busy, man. He's got a whole crowd of people that are trying to shoot. I mean, look, let's face it. His best friend, he blew his brains out. He blew his chest up. He just steps over him. Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, but that's the world of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I don't think it's particularly a bad thing. And I don't think it shows that Ash is, unfeeling. It's just...
No, it's just that, this is kind of old hat for him. Like,
That's right.
And this very specifically.
Yes.
Well, and he uses ass kicking as a way, as like a literal coping mechanism for him. Like, again, that kind of like humor to kind of deflect the horror that he's going through.
Absolutely. Yeah. I certainly didn't get the impression that he felt nothing.
Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
No, you see it on his face when the door slams shut. Like, you can tell there's a lot of weight to what he's seeing, but also a fear about the anticipation of what he's about to see. Yeah. Because he knows the kind of tricks that the Necronomicon can pull on somebody.
Exactly.
Right.
And they've pulled those tricks on him lots of times before.
For sure.
That's right, they have.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll even take his television and make fantasy football.
Dude, DraftKings really got their money's worth.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, comedy equals tragedy plus time. That's Ash's thing.
Yeah.
How philosophical of you.
I know.
My goodness.
I must be a comedian or something.
No. Say that again now. What was your... No, I'm interested.
Oh, comedy equals tragedy plus time. I know I've heard Patton Oswalt say it. I think it's a pretty...
I've heard the expression before as well.
It's like, so I'm not that smart, guys. I had to admit it.
Mel Brooks had a good one. He said, if you fall, it isn't funny. If anybody else does, it is. It's just you want it to happen to somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he said, that like a paper cut, him getting a paper cut
is tragedy. And then a man walks into an open sewer and dies. That's comedy.
That too, I guess.
True.
Yeah.
I laughed harder at that one, so must be true.
Yeah. I think Mel Brooks also said, "Get the hell back on set. Who's paying for this guy?" That's what he was fond of telling all the actors. Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure he said that at some point. So before we move on, I'm going to take another minute to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate and leave a comment. We love hearing from you. Even though iTunes was really mean and wiped away all our other previous comments.
We totally had iTunes
We
reviews.
did.
We swear.
But you guys stepped it up to show our producers that you like the show that we're putting
Yay.
on. And we got a few comments that we have here. Because again, you guys are the absolute greatest. So, we have Ash vs. Evil Dead, guys, by Bill Nye, the Critic Guy. This show is awesome. Megan is excellent and beautiful hostess who keeps the show in line.
Hey, that's nice.
I have
Excuse me, I ran this show for 2 weeks. All
of my hosts are beautiful hosts and hostesses. So, but thank you, Bill. Always a delight in the chat, and everyone else. Lex, Emma, and Lacretia are very interactive with the fans. Can go and nerd out about Ash and not be judged. Overall, check out the show. Guarantee you will love it. AfterBuzz TV greats from EC from DC. Let me just say, nothing stops this AfterBuzz team from giving an enjoyable, bloody good review of this TV show. These four hosts give great details and insights into the wild world of Ash vs. Evil Dead. Also, the guests are amazing and bring more to the show. Thanks, AfterBuzz gang. Keep
Except
it
Ted Raimi.
up. Oddly specific. That was very nice.
No, it's very nice. Which reminds me,
Yes.
fantasy football. It's really something we should be talking about more.
Fantasy football team.
Sorry.
I was going to say Bill Nye, the Critic Guy, if I'm not mistaken, is the dear Billy Pollahan, who's very active at AfterBuzz and also over at Screen Junkies, who said in the chat last time when we brought up, we're like, we don't know what happened to our iTunes reviews. He's like, on it, and totally delivered.
Way to
So.
step it up. We appreciate that, man. So, let's get back to this episode.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and back to DraftKings.
Does anybody have a team?
No.
Well, I watch sports, but I don't do fantasy sports because I have a life.
Well, tonight, you guys.
Wow.
I'm
That was
kidding, guys.
bold.
I really
gonna-
don't.
We're all
and
sitting here talking about a TV
I
show.
know.
No, I'm going to pick the torch up. I've been so inspired tonight that by tomorrow I will have 10 fantasy teams operating in concert and harmony with each other all season long. Thanks to DraftKings.com.
Yes, yeah, because that's the thing is I have friends that they on Sundays like they really get into it and it's funny and they spend a lot of time on it and like power to people that do that because it is soul crushing on Sundays, especially for football.
Getting back to Ash versus Evil
Yeah,
Dead.
we've talked about
Sorry, I get
DraftKings.
brain-
Yeah, no.
We've talked
Yeah,
about iTunes.
sorry.
You know what we haven't talked about? We haven't talked about Ball.
We have not.
At all
Right,
this episode.
right. We really haven't. But we do have a really good question in the chat
Go for it.
for Ted that I don't want to
No,
lose.
please,
So
by all means.
Ash
Yes.
Dead 86 asks Ted, would you ever want to direct an episode of Ash versus Evil Dead and get in the fun of torturing Bruce?
Yeah, I sure would. I sure would. I did some direction on the show, but not in front. It was really behind for the ad campaigns.
Okay,
for ad,
nice.
Ash vs. Evil Dead this season. So some of the things you might have seen on, in answer to your question, that were behind the scenes sort of stuff, and some of the shorts that dealt with some spooky little shorts that played on Facebook and Snapchat and stuff. Those I did direct, but no, I've yet to direct any episodes. But yes, I'd like to. Sure, I'd love to torture Bruce. So who wouldn't? We wouldn't be in your right mind if you didn't torture him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So-
yes.
I gotta ask though, since this is such a wonderful crew to work with, what's been
Certainly
your
is.
favorite behind the scenes moment so far this season?
Favorite behind the scenes moment? Oh man, I'd say favorite moment. Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite moment, but I'd say anytime. Well, for sitting with Bruce, he's the man of 10,000 voices. He cannot not do a voice. So he'll read 10,000 lines of dialogue a day.
Yep.
But when they cut, he'll just start doing imitations. He'll do John Wayne. He'll do Cary Grant. It's awesome to watch. It's so anytime that happens, it's pretty amazing. And other great moments, lunchtime. That's a great moment during the day. Yeah, craft service is really good. Of course, in New Zealand, it's not quite craft service like we have in the States. It's a little bit different. Amazing. And those Kiwi crews are unbelievable. But yeah, a little bit different. Maybe a little healthier, I guess.
Sure.
At first I was like, oh, this is great. It's really healthy craft service. And then you start to go, man, I really miss, my 10 bags of Snickers and Clark bars and stuff. They're very hard to come by.
That's true. When you're abroad, you miss like American candy.
Yeah, after a while, I guess. A little bit, So
I definitely miss.
Yeah.
I feel like I mostly miss like grilled cheese sandwiches and some of the dumber stuff that we eat in the U.S.
I miss Mexican food. Like if I'm traveling around, I really miss Mexican food. That's always a bummer.
Yeah.
But also the effects on set, particularly in this episode, absolutely fantastic.
They're crazy.
Oh,
How logistically, how do they go about like showing somebody ripping your heart out?
Well, what it's a few things actually. It's a few tricks, but most of them are practical. Because if you put too many digi effects in, it's going to start looking hokey.
Animated.
Yep.
It'll look animated, and in a technical sense, digital effects are better. And I just mean technical, and then that's to say they look smoother. Digital effects have a more normal flow of, like, say, if you're cutting somebody open, that. But we're also inured by that we don't really notice them anymore. And so this show has a ton of practical effects. But this show also has a huge budget. Practical effects for bloodbath movies were never meant to be in movies past $50,000. But $50,000 is like 2 minutes of footage in this show.
Right.
So we have 30 minutes of it. So there's a lot more money now. So we have bigger, bolder effects. That particular gag, though, was they built the effects team, the incredible effects team, built 2 torsos of me, and I did an alginite cast of it. So basically, they had my body cast, so they knew what I'd look like.
Right.
And then they built a chest that was able to be ripped up, and they have a wide shot heart, which looks good in a wide. They have a close-up heart, which is controlled by guys with, with like basically syringes controlling it, basically like a puppet. And they have tons of guys on blood patrol, just squirting blood out. So it was all that. And then we did the old-fashioned trick too, like you would do making any crappy, video when you're 10, which is we just shoot it from the side. Just do this, just go, like when you have to stab your buddy with a sword and you're 9 years old. It's that exactly the same effect. It does work. We did that trick. So we have like a huge multi-million-dollar show, and we did a trick that you could also perform if you're 8 years old.
Right, because you often need to stab your friends with a sword when you're
You
not.
have to. Of course. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You watch Game of Thrones one too many times. You need to know, but you also want to know how to chop your friend's head off and become king. That's important. You gotta figure that out.
Yeah, that's the world we live in today.
Yes, that's right.
But just with the effects as well, I thought that I don't know if I'm gonna call it a visual effect of the like lady that was leading the angry mob. She was Amber's mom, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And like the effect of her
poor family,
and the effect of her like just like tugging at her neck. I was like, oh, she's totally a ball demon. It's not her at all.
And just that scene between Thomas and Ball when the angry mob bursts into the sheriff's office first of all. Just the idea that he can make people see things that aren't there.
And that actor, incidentally, is the great Joel Toback, a New Zealand actor who's been around a million years. And Joel, I met him 20 years ago on Xena Warrior Princess. Joel's he's in a million movies, TV shows, and he really has a great ability to. He's really quite a chameleon, I think. Yeah. And he was perfect for this part. He's a sweet guy, but he looks evil.
He is a little evil.
Joel looks evil.
I really think it's just the curly hair.
The hair and the black outfit. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe occasionally ripping through human flesh.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, he very easily sells the whole evil angle for sure.
It's great.
Though John in the chat brings up an interesting point, saying, I wonder if Ball is possessing. If Ball is possessing the sheriff. I think he means if Ball's possessing the sheriff. Anyway, that's my question that I have. So, obviously there's some sort of interaction going on between Ball and the sheriff, and the sheriff was incredibly violent in the last episode towards his family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hence putting Linda in sort of alliance with Ash right now. I mean, to the point that Ash even says to her in this episode, like, your ex-husband, question mark? She's like, yeah, thanks, Ash. But it is bringing up, like, is he targeting the sheriff to make, to sort of bolster this relationship between Linda and Ash so that Ash thinks like, oh, I found my true love, and is ultimately going to get caught off guard. Because Ash, tends to lose everyone that he actually cares about.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
Sure.
as we see.
But he wouldn't be Ash if he didn't.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
And that brings up a really good point, because I actually breathed a sigh of relief when Ball showed up in the police station. I was actually
Why were you relieved?
Oh, because at the end of the last episode,
Are you some sort of sicko? What the hell?
well, at the end of
Well,
the
he has
last
to be
episode,
somewhere, so.
we saw Linda, but we never saw where Ball went. And so I was thinking, oh shoot, what if he's just pretending to be Linda right now?
Okay.
But then we physically see other people having the whole stretchy face thing, so it's like, oh, okay, she's probably okay. She's probably fine. Probably.
Well, I'm wondering
Yeah.
too if maybe the stretchy face thing is almost like in any zombie narrative that you
I
watch.
know.
Sometimes people will get bit, but they won't show anybody.
they won't
so
say anything.
maybe somebody's wandering around with
Yeah.
stretchy ball marks.
no,
And
And
no, I'm gonna walk that back.
Hashtag stretchy ball.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
they,
I think that now that what Joe was actually wondering was the same thing as you, Megan. That was that same fear that you had of like, oh no, Linda's not really Linda, she's Ball.
Yeah, especially if he can make other people hallucinate.
Right,
things.
right.
I imagine he doesn't necessarily have to be in the same room with him to do
Right.
that. So I hope she's not possessed by Ball. I really like
I
her.
really
Yeah.
don't think she is, but I might regret saying
And I like that they wrote Joel's character as a little more of a verbal trickster. As
Yes.
totally.
As opposed to just a standard sort of a demon that could possess you, which is
Right.
pretty cool, which Ash has plenty of, and
Yeah.
those are awesomely scary. But he's a little more devilish.
Yeah, it's nice to see a sort of different kind of scary from the Deadites who we're used to seeing, who we already know can mess with you
Yeah.
psychologically, but
That's it
like
too.
Ball does it in a different way. You never know who he is.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Exactly.
creepy.
Yeah, he really sells that black suit.
Yes, definitely somebody who enjoys the torture that he's inflicting upon other people, but does so far more charismatically than many other Deadites we've seen in the past.
And to answer your question, Steve, in the chat, yes, Ball is literally wearing the skin of the other people that
That's
he
right.
kills and makes part of it. Yeah, he doesn't possess people. He literally cuts them open and wears their skin, and he also messes with people psychologically so that they tear each other apart.
Puts the lotion on his skin.
Buffalo Ball.
Yeah.
But speaking about the effects in this, yeah, the effects of the stretchy skin are really great and unsettling. But I also feel really bad for Ray in these last set of episodes,
I know.
because how many times has he been dangling from the ceiling in this show?
A lot.
We're only
Dangles
6
a great deal.
episodes in.
Dangles a great deal, and Ray had, Ray wins the award, for this year for just, most crap glued to his face and
Yeah,
body.
I believe
Yeah, I think he might win if there was an Emmy award for that. He'd definitely win.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
now
that
the
really-
award for male most crap glued to your body. Surprise, surprise! Ray Santiago, and he would have. I mean, but he really endured a lot, especially in this episode. But he takes it very well. He's, he just takes.
Well, and not only does he take it really well, but Pablo kind of takes it really well too. I mean, there was that whole scene where he's just throwing up fountains of black ooze, and then he's like, Pablo's gonna be fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to stress, guys.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Because and Ray alluded to it the last time he was on our show, and he said that Pablo, even though there's a lot of dark stuff happening this season, there's also this perpetual light and positivity, and we see that here.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
and we see that, and he is presumably towards the end of this episode, as we saw, able to will the right spell
Yeah.
to get Ball out of here, whether or not if they're going to be able to stop the Necronomicon from fully converging with him is another
Remains
thing.
to be seen. Yes,
But,
yes.
but it is interesting that he was able to summon that at will.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Helpful. Certainly helpful, potentially. Though Ruby's not doing so great right now.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to read the spell and make it happen.
Yeah, there's a running theme of Plan A not working, for sure.
in this show, yeah.
Well, I don't think Plan A ever works in Ash.
No, I mean,
It never
that's
works. It
why
wouldn't be Ash if Plan A, if it all worked out, you know, then it would be, you know, I don't know.
That's why he never forms a plan. He's like, think later.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah, Plan
Just
A
rev
worked
up your
to be,
chainsaw.
what, Outlander, maybe. Outlander, you fall in love, you just fall in love. That's, hey, that's nice. Look, here I am back in 1600. Ain't this nice?
Yeah.
It all worked out. I got 2 men, but it all worked out. Ash, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Ash is like, do I kill this guy? Those are all shitty choices. I don't want that choice. Yeah.
Just gonna
Yes.
roll with the punches.
Yeah.
But for the first time ever, Ash is actually, well, probably since the end of Ash versus the Army of Darkness, he actually does get acknowledged to be a hero by the end of
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and it was so. When Cheryl came out, I was like, oh no, this is just not gonna go well because she's gonna look like a person to everybody else, and this is just gonna be bad. And Ash just like let it roll until she went full on Deadite and was like, look, I told you.
I just love that. It was just like, he's like, whoa, seriously, I'm gonna do it again. Like,
Yeah.
he was so proud.
Wait
He was
for
having too
it.
much fun.
Wait for it.
Well, if you in Ash, you know, the all good deeds are punished.
Yeah.
It's not no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah, it's
every good
literally
deed
every good deed is punished.
Yeah.
goes unpunished. Goes punished. So I can't say anything, of course, but you know, just by law of averages, his glory will probably not last. He had a briefly he reconnected with his father. We all know how that ended.
Yep.
Yep.
He reconnected with his best friend. We know how that happened tonight.
Yep.
And now he's the hero of the town.
Oh no.
I ain't saying
They're all
nothing.
gonna
Did I say
die.
anything? You'll have to watch the show. You'll have to watch the show.
Boy.
Oh, this place is gonna be
Yeah.
a smoking crater by the time we're done,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's gonna be
Yeah.
very much like the Preacher finale, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, isn't that so sad? The writer, one of the creators,
I know.
Oh, I
Steve
know.
Dillon,
Yeah.
so sad, and there were so many imitators that author had, and it's just so sad that,
Yeah.
that he passed away. But he really influenced a generation of graphic novelists.
Yeah.
Nobody like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will be
There'll
missed.
be another one.
No, cannot replace him.
No.
But yeah, but
Back
Ash,
to Blood and Guts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Ash finally gets to be the hero, not necessarily that the town asked for, but, like, I don't think he's ever gotten, like, positive affirmation for any of the things that he's done.
Well, certainly not. I think not at all, but certainly not from the people he knew growing up. They all think he's a crazy murderer.
A
Right.
loser
Yeah,
at best.
Flashy.
A loser at best, a crazy murderer at worst.
There was that one time the S-Mart applauded for him when
Yes.
he saved the day, but we don't even know which timeline we're in now, so maybe that didn't
they
happen.
sang a whole song about it in the end of Evil Dead the musical.
Yeah.
I not gonna lie, I thought about like us starting with Look Who's Evil Now since Cheryl
Oh.
came back.
Oh, that's okay. I think she's still sort of alive-ish. Maybe. Yeah. I loved her reaction though too when she like got her head severed and she's like, "Oh, not again."
Yeah.
These things do happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, is there anything else you guys want to touch on in this week's episode before we wrap it up for this evening?
It was nice to see the classic tracking shot
Yes.
through the woods.
Yes.
Yep.
When
that's
Cheryl
pretty
came
cool.
back.
And it looked like it was coming from the woods, maybe where the cabin was,
I
all the
know,
way back
yeah.
to the home.
Yeah, and
That's
that
a little, I don't know if
effect
it's the cabin. It's a little stretch there. You see your back, your mind. I don't know about that. Definitely the woods, though.
Definitely
cabin
the
was way
woods.
back there, but yeah.
I am never gonna go camping in Michigan, like
No.
ever, because of this show.
If we
No
learned
way.
one thing from this entire narrative thus far, it's no camping in Michigan,
or
for
its
sure.
general vicinity.
Yeah, sure. Although, to tell you the truth, they, despite the fact that the filmmakers wanted to shoot all 3 or 4 iterations in Michigan, none of them were.
Yeah.
Only some footage was shot in suburban and inner city Detroit, but
Yeah.
the first picture was shot in Tennessee, the second North Carolina, the third in California, and now this television show in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Wow.
But nothing ever took place in Michigan, and it all takes place in Michigan.
Right.
It was just circumstance that happened that way. However, if there's a fifth version of it, let's all hope.
Michigan.
Might
That would be
actually
great.
bring it home to where it's
Yeah, you
supposed to
never
be. Yeah.
That would be really great to actually bring it back to where everything started.
That's right.
Yeah, but the car has traveled from Michigan to all the various locations.
It has. The car's been everywhere. Yeah, the Delta 88's been everywhere. Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah, I guess we can probably go ahead and move on into predictions.
Oh, yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
We have some.
Disturbing.
Yeah, I love
Spooky.
ours.
They're
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
spooky.
they are.
predictions.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
There's some great predictions in the chat about
I can
Eli.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, these were from earlier. Yes, Steve Mayer said, if Eli is a pot fiend, does that mean he might have been rooting around in the Necronomicon too? That is where Ash kept his stash. And then Ryan O'Malley speculates that Eli will be the big bad for season 3.
Dead-eyed
And I'm like-
iguanas.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That is,
sounds good.
well, first, I think that's less guessing, more wishful thinking, dude.
Yeah.
So go grab that bong one more time, buddy. That is the strangest comment I ever heard.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
No, I ain't saying no and I ain't saying yes. It's Ash vs. the Evil Dead. It is
Well,
entirely possible.
Based on the preview, it looks like we are taken to an insane asylum where Ball, and again, this is left up to interpretation, either Ash has actually been crazy all this time, and that he's used this narrative as like a way to justify everything that's happened to him.
Yeah.
Or it's Ball pulling a trick on him.
Right.
Which I think it's safe to say that's probably the case.
Probably
I
the
think
case.
so.
You know what the answer is? None of your damn business.
But I think they did an episode of Community like this.
Yeah, there's an
Yes.
episode of Community and Buffy.
Oh,
That's
yes,
right,
yeah,
yes.
it is.
They try to convince all of the characters that they're actually just trapped in an insane asylum together.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense for both of those shows.
It does.
But
It
Ash
does.
vs. Evil Dead, now this is like totally legit. That happened, right? All of it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Based on
absolutely.
an actual event.
Exactly.
We forgot to put
I
that
know.
in the titles before
Yeah,
the
right,
before the
right.
logo
Based on
for
a true
Starz.
story.
No, this actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if there is any character probably in horror movie history who probably should have sought professional help, Ash probably really could have
Yeah.
benefited from a therapist at some point.
That's
Shot with his
very
sister.
true.
Yeah.
How do you explain the like demons and time travel and like the woods?
Yeah, that's
rape
a
my
really
sister and like
unfortunate comment. I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you mean a therapist? What are you talking about? That's called Ash vs. Evil Dead. What do you say, General Hospital? What's the matter with you?
that said though there
I
was
do the
that.
after show for this.
There was that show In Treatment with Gabriel Byrne where like every episode like it was all week and it'd be a therapy session, basically the length
Yeah,
of a
that's
therapy
right.
session. But with Ash, but he's every episode of the week.
That'd be
And-
awesome if Ash was on In Treatment, though.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting combination of HBO and Stars.
That would
Yeah,
be
Gabriel
so.
Byrne would go, so tell me, Ash, what happened to you when you were younger? Tell me when you cut all your buds up there.
Actually, that
Did
would
it hurt
be-
your heart there, lad? Ash would go,
I would totally watch a one-off episode of that crossover.
I would watch seasons.
that would
of
really strange, yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to make that skit now. I mean, I don't know if we can get Gabriel Byrne, but maybe Bruce would do it. Like, one of us could just put on a suit and be hey, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Oh, well, any other predictions?
Well, you haven't closed the door completely on the idea of seeing Chet return in some form. So maybe for now it is only wishful thinking on my part, but
Right.
I am wishing for it.
Well, thank you. The answer is I cannot tell you the answer,
Right.
obviously, but again, it is Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Right, right. And right
law of
now-
averages, the dead do rise. Sometimes they don't. So yeah.
It's a
Good.
coin toss.
I thank you for the nice compliment, though. I do appreciate
Yes.
that. Of course.
Yes.
Chet is currently the dead. Perhaps we might get the evil part of it in the
right.
coming weeks.
That's
I would
right.
absolutely love to see Deadite Chet. That would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
That'd be crazy.
It would be
That would
crazy.
be crazy.
Yep.
Well, guys, I think that just about wraps it up.
Yeah.
Ted, thank you so much again.
Thank you for
coming in.
inviting me on your show, not once but twice. That's crazy. I feel very lucky, and thank you all for having me on your show. It's awesome. And I do feel sort of cured. I do feel feel lighter and more cured. So thank you. I will not ask for my money back.
Well, thank you so much. Do you have any other upcoming projects that you can talk about?
Only that, well, not again. As the last time I was here, there's a feature film that I'm getting ready to direct in the spring. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It's a thriller. I'm shooting it here in Los Angeles and in my hometown of Detroit, Michigan. So looking forward to shooting that. And that's it. And if you want to know more about me, go to @Ted Raimi across the board. It's really easy. It's just my name.
Well, again, thank you so
Thanks
much.
for having me, you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Cannot wait to see the film. Emma, where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
On the internet, just Emma Fyffe everywhere. It's my name. You can Google me. I'm the first Emma Fyffe that comes up because I guess I'm doing my job right or something. Yeah, just @Emma Fyffe everywhere. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know everything I'm doing because I tweet a lot.
I too tweet a lot, so follow me. I say funny things, and that's @LacretiaLyon anywhere on the internet, since there is only one Lacretia Lyon. And I will be doing funny things at Flappers on Friday here in Burbank, actually. And come see me try to win the Wittiest Woman contest.
All right.
Okay.
Cool, man.
And I am all over social media @the Lex Michael. I'm also on a ton of shows here at AfterBuzz. I do Supergirl, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. We also do Comic Book Exchange on Book Circle Online. Come, so many wonderful places to nerd out with us. Please do. We love you. Mwah.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Again, cannot say thank you enough to Ted Raimi.
Thank you for having me on your show, guys. I really appreciate it. It was an honor. It was. Thank you.
It was an honor having you. Thank you to everybody in the hashtag and the live chat. We will see you all next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
R.I.P. Chet.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.